Yay, alright, we're live. Wow. Okay, so going to pop out. Yay, alright, we're live. Wow. Alright, let's do this. Mount McLaughlin. Okay, so first thing is first. Let's go. Let's go to YouTube and well, son of a bitch, I lost the link. Okay.
Hi, my name is Steve Matthews, and my YouTube handle is Teeth of the Lamb. Today is January 12th, 2019. There's a very remote location here in Oregon, Burnt Mountain, and I could see Mount McLaughlin 94 miles to the southeast, and so I wanted to put that down in a video and share it with all of you.
Okay. So the two places we need: Burnt Mountain Oregon. Cool. And then we also need Mount McLaughlin, which is here. Okay, so now we're going to download the data. So to do that, yes, I know the government is shut down. Gotta sign in. And so let's actually do some searching here. So, Burnt Mountain. I can't even spell. Nope, that is not the right place. All right, let's try and copy this. Great, there we go. So we have our first location, and then, so I'm just gonna put a point. Well, okay, this thing is really hard to use because basically it doesn't allow you to add points. Yeah, that's annoying. All right, maybe if I actually do this. Mount McLaughlin show. All right, for some reason, okay, maybe if I do add coordinates? No. I always hate this thing because basically I can never figure out how to get these 2 points here at the same time. But I know that this is where Mount McLaughlin is, and so I'm just going to basically add in a wide enough area to include all of these points. Now, yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll go to Google Earth. Okay. So the question is, do I have enough area here to show all of this? So basically Mount McLaughlin is down here. I included Mount McLaughlin. Now the question is, did I include the Burnt Mountains? And to do that, okay, so basically there's this little bump here, which this is basically in line with, so I think I need to take this up a bit. And that should include Mount McLaughlin and our location. Okay. So now what I can do is I can just go to data sets, and it's going to ask me for which data set I need. So what you want to do is you want to look for digital elevation, and this is actually a very interesting data set because it includes a mixture of a whole bunch of different surveying data, and it tries to combine them in a smart way to be as accurate as possible. And so at some point I want to actually just download this entire data set and store it on my computer to have a consistent pool of data to draw from and not have to do this every fucking time. But for everyone else, I'm just going to show the process. So there's actually a few different kinds. This is the most precise, or not the most precise, the smallest resolution that they have, so 1 arcsecond. These are 3 arcseconds, which are 90-meter tiles, or 90 meters resolution. And this one is 30-meter resolution. So, I mean, it doesn't matter too much, but this one I find to be more accurate. But the problem, there's some areas where the data is not actually, let's say, filled out completely. So that's why maybe even switching to this data set, this Aster Global DEM, would be a smart move in the future. Because I was trying to model something last night, and basically this was giving all sorts of weird places where it just didn't have any points of data. Okay. So unfortunately, also, typically what you do is you can actually add these things to what is called a bulk download. And you can just select all of them, and then you can download them all at once. The problem is, for some reason, my system is actually not doing this, so I'm going to have to download these one at a time. But there's not that many, there's 12, so it's not bad. So what I'm going to do, basically, you can actually do all sorts of stuff here, but okay, I think I might skip that one. But basically what this does is it overlays the actual footprint of the data set. And right, since Mount McLaughlin's here, it's probably not necessary. In fact, this entire point might not be necessary. So let's narrow the search a little bit more. Search criteria. So let's bring this up. All right. Cool. And I think that's fine. We'll keep that one. Okay, so this is actually a small enough data set where it won't take too long to download. So basically, The refraction software I only know how to use GeoTIFFs, so So let's create a folder here. All right, so we're going to save all of these guys. And as I go, I will make sure that I don't download it twice. Okay, working our way up. And of course, downloads are very slow because I'm actually streaming right now. Oh, I should probably share the stream with everyone. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just want to have this live so people don't think I'm being dishonest or anything. I'm just doing everything as objectively as humanly possible. And for some reason, it will not let me download anything else. So we'll have to wait a few minutes for this to actually download. So my channel. And for some reason, it will not let me download anything else. So we'll have to wait a few minutes for this to actually download. All right. Well, since no one else is in the chat, since I am basically unknown to most people, what shall we do in the meantime? All right, let's go over the Python script. So I already set up a folder. I have my Python script. Oh, there we go. Okay. And I'm going to close that. Okay, so this is my other model. So basically what I have here is a script which does a few things. So I'm going to separate this out into two pieces. So this piece is basically all auxiliary functions to import data. And it's all written in Python, and it uses NumPy and SciPy and my own library here, which is refraction render. So these things, post-process is basically, it applies a filter to the rendered image to make it more smooth, because the data, if the resolution is pretty, well, basically the way that the render works is that it does not take into account, doesn't do things like anti-aliasing. So what this does is it does a sampling procedure which basically smooths out the sharp boundaries between the land and the sky when I do a render. This thing basically is a function which I use to define the coloring of the land. So it takes distance, it takes height, and then it takes some auxiliary, other arguments which you pass in. And this tells you how the land gets colored. This stuff, so this is basically, I give it a path to the directory which contains the data files. I give it a latitude and longitude, and a template here is just the style of format where the the TIFF file looks like. So latitude, longitude, and then it has this prefix. And what this does is it basically imports the data from the TIFF, right? And it gives it as an array. And then from that array, I generate basically the latitude and longitude grid for that data set. And then what I do basically is I go through and I go over this entire tile. Let's see, so where were we at? So minus 124. All right, so we have that. Okay. So basically what I do is I go through and I download or I import all of these tiles into my script, which is a few megabytes of data. It's not very much. And then it does an interpolation over this area. So that I pass that data into another function, which does basically a polygon mesh of the data. And so I use that polygon mesh to actually determine the hit location of the rays. So here's importing a single block, and then this function basically takes all of the blocks and puts them together in one big array, which represents all of this area right here. So you see there's a loop over latitudes and longitudes, basically, and it creates a big matrix which has all of the data in it. So I get the elevation, I get a block, and then I use that to get the total elevation data, and then I pass that elevation data into my scene. So the scene is an object which is used to determine the three-dimensional space and objects in the distance which I want to render. And you can add elevation data like this, or you can add basically PNG images into the scene, which will be rendered accordingly. You can give them the dimensions and their GPS location and their elevation above sea level, or you can basically use that. You can actually, if you don't give it an elevation, it will just use the land model elevation. And here I'm getting the maximum. So when I do this, data is all of the elevation points in the region. Data.max is the highest point. So I need that highest point data in order to do the coloring of the land. And then here's the bulk of the issue. So what I do is I have a latitude of my observer, latitude, longitude of my observer, latitude, longitude of the point of interest, which in this case is Mount McLaughlin. I create my scene. I get my elevation. In this case, I actually use the land model from the S to get my elevation. Of course, I could also research it myself. Now I'm going to go through where I get these points basically in a second. These are all just auxiliary variables, so the resolution of the image, the vertical resolution I should say, the aspect ratio gives the determination between the vertical resolution and the horizontal resolution, so I just need to give it the vertical resolution. These are just parameters, so Dmax is how far away I want to do my rendering. So I have to pick a cutoff and how far I want to calculate the scene, and so in this case I'm doing 150 miles. Focal length is the focal length of the camera. And you see I have this thing called render 35 millimeter, which is basically the focal length here is the focal length of a 35 millimeter camera that determines the field of view. And of course, yeah, there's a lot of stuff here, but basically I create a renderer, and the renderer takes a calculator. So I have a curve calculator, I have a curve calculator without refraction, I have a flat calculator, and I also have a flat calculator without refraction. So this basically gives you an atmospheric model and calculates the actual refraction of the rays, while this just does basically assumes that there's no atmosphere at all, and the rays just go in straight lines. No, not no atmosphere, but the atmosphere is uniform in density. And this, by passing this in, I'm doing the default setting, which is there's no miraging effects. It's basically just a standard atmosphere. And then after this, these are the renders themselves. Here, GPU is a flag which turns on and off the GPU, which I think I might turn off for the stream, since it's probably using the GPU to do the encoding. The ray diagrams are basically what I've shown in my presentations. It shows the side profile where the rays go and relative to the points along a orthographic slice of the elevation profile. So there's a few different rays that I have here. I basically just copied this script from a previous example, like Pikes Peak or San Jacinto. Right, okay. IR is a bit misleading, so this is just regular refraction. It's not IR, it's the visible spectrum. Not like it matters. Okay, so why is it? Oh, oops. Downloads, elevation data. Okay. So here's all the elevation data. I copied it into the directory. And basically now you got to look at the latitude range and the longitude range. So each of these are a tile of 1 degree by 1 degree. So this is 42 and 43 are the two latitudes, and so that means I go from 42 to 44, right, because this includes points up to latitude 44 degrees. And I go from 22, 23, 24, 25, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so these are west, and so they're negative, so I go from minus 26 to minus 22. And so minus 126 to minus 122, and I do 42 to 44. All right, and if everything goes well, it should give me a scene. Now let's discuss these points. So basically, if I go back to Mount McLaughlin's very simple. I just copy this latitude and longitude of the peak or of this spot. So, you know, if you want, I will just do it live. Oh, oops, I didn't even update it. Okay, great. So here's the latitude and longitude of Mount McLaughlin. Now, I'm assuming that this person did not take the elevation, the point here, because this is actually like right on a road. Now, I could be wrong. But he does say his elevation. So I think if I recall...
I have some images and about...
So he's at 1,960 feet. So 1,960 feet to meters. Oh, see, I actually looked this up. So it's about 600 meters elevation. So if I go to Google Earth and I go to that point, so basically, okay, let's go back. Let's just be completely cool here. All right, so this is the point at which this Google Earth takes me to, or this Google Maps takes me to. So let's actually plot that in here. Okay. So what basically my contention is very simple. So if you look on Google Earth, there's this point here, which is I guess the address where it takes me to. And then there's this Burnt Mountain recreation site. So I'm assuming that most likely this person was going out on a recreational trip and they were hiking along these mountains here inside this region. So what I decided to do is I decided to look for a point which was about that elevation of 600 meters in that general vicinity. And I think that's what I got around here. So you can, if it's, I know it's really hard to see, guys. I apologize. There's a whole bunch of points around here which are close to 600, but this point right here, you can actually see, assuming that there's high enough resolution, it says 598 meters. So I think there's a point over here too as well. That's really much higher. That's 600 meters, almost 700 meters at this point. So if I'm being completely honest here, it's probably somewhere either here or there. And honestly, it probably won't make too much of a difference. Maybe some issues of parallax. So honestly, we can probably try this, but I'm also going to, I'll copy this point. And I can plug it in here. Okay. All right, so now that I have that, well, that doesn't seem right. That latitude and longitude seems wrong. So let's get it from Google Earth. Really? That seems odd. Basically, what's going on here? Maybe I don't need all this data. No, let's give it a shot. So I'm going to do, I have all the data that I need. I have more than enough data, so let's just continue with that. It'll be faster. Okay, so now what it's going to do is it's going to render a sphere image, render a sphere without refraction, render a flat with refraction, and then I'm going to calculate the ray diagrams and show some of the elevation profile. So in order to do that, I need to open up the terminal. And let's see if it works. Cool beans. All right, so this is basically going over the, God, what is it called? Headings for each layer of the frame. So these are different headings along which the renderer is rendering currently. So once it hits 127, we'll have a fully done render for a sphere Earth with refraction. All right, so it looks like this guy's actually using Walter Bislis calculator. So this is what he sees. So should probably just take a screenshot of this for reference. Cool beans. All right, it looks like it worked. Oh my God, of course. All right. So sometimes this happens where I probably did not pick a good elevation. In which case I need to stop. So, you know, like everything, things don't always work out the way you think they do. And of course here I'm doing +2 for the elevation of the observer. At this point though, it doesn't quite matter. 300, oh, that seems much larger than what I would like. So I'm going to try, maybe it's because I was basically at this point, right, which was looking this way towards a mountain. So I'm going to try this side where there's actually a line of sight. Ha, stupid me. Yeah, I think that was the issue. Yeah, I think I picked a point where it's looking straight into a mountain. This point probably makes more sense. Yeah, let's do this one. Or this one, I don't know. Oopsie doozies. All right, just to speed things up a little bit, because I need to actually, can't spend too long on this. Let's change the resolution first to see if we get something which looks at least reasonable. Why is the elevation so much different? That's so weird. Google Earth, why are you lying to me? It seems to be about 30 meters off. So let's give it a shift. All right, typically these values actually line up very well. I'm not really sure what's going on, but maybe this region, the elevations data is not quite the same. Okay, 598.9, that seems to be this correct elevation. So it might not be the exact point, but again, all that's going to do is shift parallax. So really what we're concerned about is how much of the mountain we can actually see. Oh, hey, Chris, what's up? Yeah, I totally did not announce this, but I guess I scheduled it for fucking tomorrow, but yeah, I meant today. Anyways, yeah, I don't know how to do this. How do I do wrench? Add moderator. Yay. Hey, Shroomy, what's up? You are a being. Yes, you are. All right. Oh, shit. So many things. Why is it broken still? Okay, maybe this will help. Oh, God. All right, well, there's the problem. I'm looking right into the face of a mountain. Okay. I need to figure out where this guy is actually standing, because he didn't provide any point in which he was doing his observation. Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, this is annoying as hell. It seems like he's pretty south. You'd think these people would actually document their GPS locations, since it's really easy to do that. All right, so maybe he's somewhere around here. Ah, there's just so much space. There's just no fucking way I'm going to be able to figure this out. All right, let's see. Maybe he went south. No, there's still a mountain in the way. No, maybe he's over here. All right. So I'm not as good at this as the other guys, like Sly. But let's see if I can work something out here. So he says 194 miles. So let's look for distances like that. Okay, so the data seems to match. Okay, so it's not that I'm going crazy. Yeah. All right. So that is not the right location. Can I modify it? Oh, I can. Yay. Ah, Jesus. Okay. God, what the fuck is going on? Huh, I picked the wrong observation. To do live, of course. You know what I'm gonna do? So this guy might be lying about his elevation, to be perfectly honest. I don't know. Yeah, because it's just a big fucking mountain in the way. Okay. So what's the elevation here? It's still too high. This is so weird.
In the summertime. Then
Jesus.
here are two other short video clips that I took on my trip out to film Mount McLaughlin. This is a waterfall on the way. In the summertime, there's a nice pool down at the bottom, and the truckers that
Oh, this is fun.
stuff, they like to stop and take a
Look at this
bath.
guy.
It's like in the 90 or 100 degrees up there. Others weren't in the way.
He looks like he's at a very high elevation relative to the rest of the mountains. Let's see what he has to say.
Pretty good. I'd see that whole mountain if those others weren't in the way. And here's just another video of the same thing. And give you an idea of the mountain at about 1,960 feet, looking off to the southeast, and
Wait,
mountain. Here's the video that I made. I'm on Burnt Mountain at about 1,960 feet,
1900.
looking off to the southeast, and that is Mount McLaughlin.
What is this? I mean, it just doesn't seem likely that he's at that elevation, because there's all of these higher mountains in the way in this range. Like, all of these peaks are going to be higher than that. So, you know, is this a trail? Oh, that actually might be useful. Maybe you followed some trail. This looks like a nice little spot to take a picture. Let's see if there's a clearing there to see the mountains. No. This is very odd. Who would have thought? Would have been nice to have a documented, dude. Come on. Come on here. All right, what do I know? What does he... Oh, Jesus. What does he give us?
I'm on Burnt Mountain at about 1,900.
All right, let's see if there's a Wikipedia page about this. There's too many. Burnt Mountain, Oregon. What? Huh. Well, I know Google Earth does searches, so let's do it here. Burnt Mountain, Oregon. Yeah, what the fuck? All right, let's just see if this works. Ah, Jesus. What was the claim? 94 miles, eh? Okay, this point looks maybe like it's possible, but to be honest, I don't really have much faith in this guy. Save. Okay. Show elevation. Yeah. I mean, the problem I basically see here, guys, is that any point that I pick, which is 500 meters, because this is a very mountainous area, he is never going to be able to see anything because it's always going to be blocked by some mountain in front of him. So I don't think he's actually at 600 meters. I'm sorry, I just cannot see that happening because there's lots of these mountains in the way, which are definitely larger than 600 meters. So even with the curvature of the Earth making these drop, I mean, it's still not possible for him to, because of the terrain, it's still not possible for him to get high enough to actually see one of these things, unless he's just not at that elevation. And of course, since he never actually provided any GPS coordinates, I have no idea how I'm supposed to verify where he is, basically. Well, I'm sorry. This is just really shitty. Yeah, I guess I can just try and pick a point which might work. This seems maybe like it's promising, so... And let's print out the height when I run it. And of course, I don't want to do the renders. I basically just want to get the elevation profile. Oh, damn it. No. All right. Let's leave those there. Yeah. I mean, look, there's just no getting around it. And regardless of model, flat Earth, round Earth, I mean, you just will not be able to see the mountain because there are other peaks in the way. So he has to be higher in elevation. There's just no way. Unless there's some break, but I'm just going to be wasting everyone's time here basically trying to figure it out. So, maybe there's some information here. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to post a comment and say, all right. Yeah, damn, what a bust. What a fucking bust. Do I recognize any of the other mountains maybe using Peak Finder? Well, yeah, actually, that's a good point. I mean, the problem is basically every place that I have tried is too low in elevation in order to actually see anything, because this mountain range, this Burnt Mountains, is actually not just a single mountain, it's actually a mountain range. And there's all sorts of issues going on there, basically because the mountains are, there are mountains in that mountain range which are higher than 600 meters. And so the chances of me finding a break where I can see through or see past some of the mountains at that elevation, I don't think I could just guess and check over and over again. What would be better if this guy actually just documented his observations properly. So, yeah, that's basically it. So what did Nick say? Hey, nice to see sensible programming language. Oh, interesting. Activation, diffusion, reactions in C. Oh, that sounds like a pain in the ass, dude. Yeah, why are you using C though? Like, yeah, I guess it's fast. You know, I don't know. If I want speed and simplicity, I would just use Fortran. But yeah, to each their own. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna end this because there's not much I can really do unless this person tells me where the fuck they are. I thought it would be straightforward, but yeah, this is how it goes sometimes. All right, well, at least people see how to download data and stuff and use the code. And if people actually care, then I will actually upload the data to my website. All right, well, I'm going to end the stream now, so I will talk to you guys later.